Ladies and gentlemen, did Bailey Humphrey just indicate he wants to go home to Melbourne? It's time to talk all things black and white. About last night, Bailey Humphrey posts a bunch of photos on Instagram. You read the caption, it says, "I'm from Moe," in capital letters. All right, bit sus. But then you pair that with the song he elected to have over the photos. And the song playing was Charlie Cameron's favorite song, Country Road, Take Me Home. If that is not a sign that Bailey Humphrey is doing everything he can in the next few days to push a move back to Melbourne, then I don't know what is. So we heard a couple days ago that Gold Coast were firm on Bailey not going anywhere. Management last week said he's not meeting with anyone, and then a couple hours later he's meeting with clubs. Some said to be Collingwood. Melbourne, he's met with Melbourne. So there is a bit of confusion amongst all parties, and it seems like Bailey Humphrey is driving this the most, the move home. And now we're starting to hear, as of yesterday or the day before, Dimmer shares some sympathy for Bailey Humphrey's family situation with the reason why he wants to go back to Victoria. Now, we won't be privy to the information surrounding his family situation, but he is pushing it quite heavily. So this could bring Hawthorn into it. This could bring Essendon into it. This could bring Melbourne into it. And this bloody damn well should bring Collingwood back into this conversation. Now, how we get this done is something that's going to be a massive debate and a massive question. I think if we want to go there just for a second, right? I think you have to look at, if we get to the point where Bailey Humphrey says, "Make me a Magpie," we must look at players like Jordan De Goey. We must look at players like Bobby Hill, because Gold Coast, similar to where Collingwood were at last year, they actually have an abundance of picks in this draft. So they probably don't want any more picks, right? They want players. So what can we do? Can we get Bobby Hill to West Coast to get picks, to get more players to present in a 3-way or 4-way trade with a Gold Coast perhaps? What does De Goey get you? I mean, I know their midfield is stacked, but he's a mid-forward beast and probably directly replaces Bailey Humphrey for at least 2026, right? Clubs are still agitating for Bailey Humphrey. Hardwick sympathetic to his situation, but Gold Coast won't budge without 3 firsts minimum, said Tom Morris on the 7th of October. So that does indicate it's going to be incredibly difficult for Collingwood to secure him, but we have heard that we do have exemption to access our first round draft pick from next year. So that's 1 first rounder. De Goey qualifies as the next. What does Bobby Hill get you? Is that not 3 first rounders in some way or the other? So I think there's a possibility. Collingwood wouldn't be, we hear Collingwood's asked the question of Curnow. They've asked the question of Humphrey. I don't think we ask the question if we're not trying to bring them to the Vitality Centre at the end of this trade period. I don't see it. So the list management, clearly, Shane O'Brien, Leper, obviously have something up their sleeve where they truly believe that if Bailey says, "Make me a pie," then we can make this deal happen. So there was a quote from Cal Toomey yesterday. Bailey Humphrey is either a big Charlie Cameron fan or his Instagram post last night came with the caption, "I'm from Moe," and John Denver's music track, "Take Me Home, Country Roads." Gold Coast steadfast on not trading the young star, but Humphrey pushing a return to Victoria. So how do you read into that now? How do you read into that? I think it sounds like a young kid who's absolutely desperate to go home. It almost sounds like, I know this sounds crazy, but because he's he's so young and he's just a kid. This is almost life and death for him. For him to be in Gold Coast for another season away from his family, that's not in his head right now. You can tell he is checked out, and now there's every reason to believe that Bailey Humphrey won't be playing at the Gold Coast Suns. Now, will it be at Collingwood? As I mentioned, it's going to be incredibly difficult, right? He's not only will he cost an arm and a leg with the draft capital, he's also going to cost an arm and a leg in the salary. So whatever Gold Coast are paying him right now, we will take unless there is some form of renegotiation. But that renegotiation isn't to negotiate a lesser deal. It would be to negotiate a better deal for Bailey Humphrey. So there's that. The position he would occupy, because we haven't spoken about this, have we? If we were to lose a Degoe, it'd be simply occupying that role, just like Geordie would if he was to go to Gold Coast, hypothetically. Mid forward, probably more midfield than forward compared to Bailey Humphrey's last season at Gold Coast. Gold Coast midfield absolutely stacked. You see Sam Flanders leaving for more opportunity in the midfield. Bailey Humphrey probably is, while also desperate to get home, is probably more desperate to also, not more desperate, but also desperate or keen to get more time in the midfield. And I tell you what, Bailey Humphrey would be everything we want Beau McCreary to be in the midfield, probably 5-10 times over, if we're being brutally honest, right? That is the type of player we are talking about right now. He will pair up with Nick Dacos and become this absolute beast. Now, imagine this. Nick Dacos, Bailey Humphrey, Josh Dacos. Nick Dacos, Bailey Humphrey, Ned Long. Nick Dacos, Bailey Humphrey, Beau McCreary. Like that, those are the midfield dynamics you will get with Bailey there. Can this happen? Can this nothing burger of a trade period for the Pies so far just blow up today? So keep it close. Listen, I feel like there's still a couple more things to play out before we say, we just got Jack Buller and we're only going to get Jacob Blight. I mean, yes, even if that is the case, that is what it could have been and that's what it might be. But in the off chance, Bailey, allow Collingwood to take you home. Thank you, as always, ladies and gentlemen. It's not time to talk all things black and white. That's the intro, but go Pies.